Hey guys, Mr. O here, going to do a daily geography week 14 video review for you. This is a physical map of South America, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently this week in that I'm going to kind of go through each question. Normally what I'll do is I'll just kind of go through the map in general and point out some things, but I'm going to actually read the questions for the week and kind of help you to figure out where you might go for these. So let's get started. Monday number 1, name the longest mountain range in South America and in the world. So a couple things about this. The wording of the question I don't really like. You can almost like scratch out "and the world" because it's not really, I think it's just confusing a little bit. So really what it's asking for is just the longest mountain range in South America. It's a one answer type of thing, so you don't need two answers. It's not like you need an answer for longest in South America and then a different answer for what's longest in the world, as the question might imply. It's just one answer. So how do we figure this out? As always, we're going to start by looking at our title, and then we always go down to the legend. We will go to the inset map too, and we'll kind of always start there. This question has to do with mountain ranges, so I go to the legend, and I can see right there that we have major mountain ranges kind of in this diagonal shape. And so if I go back up here, I can start to see some diagonals right here, and I can see some diagonals right there. So those are my two major mountains. If I go back to the question, it talks about the longest range. So all I had to do is figure out which one of those diagonal sections was longest, and I can get my answer. So number 1 shouldn't be too tough. Number 2, how many rivers are labeled on the map? Which rivers flow into the Caribbean Sea? Now this has two questions, so you must have two answers. I have a lot of students who are missing points on the daily geographies because they skip the second part. This has two questions, please give two answers. So first question, our first part is how many rivers are labeled? Rivers look like this. They're just kind of the lines, and if I come up here I can see that this is one river, so I count it. This is a second river, so I count that, and I just have to find all of the rivers and take a look to see what my answer should be for that. So this one's really not that difficult. And the second part is which river flows into the Caribbean Sea. So on this one, what we need to do is we need to figure out where the Caribbean Sea is, and it's pretty obvious that it's up in the northern part. There is a river that flows into it, and that will be our second answer. So again, we will have two answers for this. Now, a little hint for the first part, how many rivers, you just have to give me a number. You don't have to write down all the names of the numbers, so just give me a number. And I'll even give you another hint. There are, well, actually, that would give you the answer, so I can't give you that second hint. Let's move on to Tuesday. Number 1, what is the name of the highest mountain in South America? Now, if we just look at this, we might think, oh, well, this is the mountain, but really that's the mountain range. What we're looking for is a peak or the highest point. And so again, the legend comes into play, and I can see that I've got this almost like a triangle pointing up that says it's the highest point. So I need to find that location on the map, and that will give me the name that I'll write down for the highest mountain. And then it asks for its elevation. And you notice that on a couple of these, and there's really only 2 that I see that even have an elevation, you can see that there's a number listed next to it. Usually it's in feet or meters. We use feet in the United States, so let's go ahead and do that for our answer. But for Tuesday number 1, what's the name of the highest mountain? Give me the peak name. What's the elevation? Give me the number. Tuesday number 2, similar. What's the lowest elevation? I look at my legend and I can see that I have a triangle that's kind of downward. That's the lowest point. I find that on the map. It also has a number associated with it, and I've knocked out Tuesday number 2. Wednesday, which desert covers more land area in South America? So deserts, let's look at deserts. And here again, my legend, you can see we put the legend into play, every single one. It's almost like dots, kind of the dotting area. And so if I look up here, I can see some desert there. I can see some desert there. That kind of sticks out to me. I go back to the question, and it says, which desert covers more land area in South America? So from the deserts that I see, which one covers more land? And I just have to kind of eyeball it. There isn't a measure on there. I just have to kind of use my eyesight to help me figure out what is the bigger area between those two deserts that we see. There's a second part to Wednesday. Number one, the desert is located between which two landforms. And so this actually gives us a hint, maybe, that if we think it's this one, then this would be our landform and this landform. If we think it's this one, then it would be maybe the Andes and the ocean. So it's got to be one of those two. The Andes has kind of got to be an answer for either one. So if we choose this, Andes is on one side. If we choose that, Andes is on that side. So the question is, the desert's located between which two landforms? You just have to figure out, is this desert the biggest one for the first part, or is this desert the biggest one for the first part? And then just tell me which landforms are on either side of it. Pretty easy. Wednesday, number two, which river's the longest in South America? And so, it looks on here to me, I can kind of see that this is a long river. I can kind of see that that's a long river. And maybe, I need to use a scale. But if I look at this, I don't have a scale. So this one is kind of either a guessing game, or if I want to make sure that I'm right, I pull out my phone and I Google it. Or if I'm at home, I pull out the computer or my iPad or whatever handheld I have, and I say, hey, what is the longest river in South America? And it'll probably tell me the answer. So use your resources. That's fine. I don't really consider that cheating if you're wanting to confirm. I sure would like for you to use this map first to try to get your answer, but if you want to verify your answer, that's not an issue. Wednesday's another one of those. Wednesday number two is another one of those that has two parts. So we already probably figured out what the longest river is, which two rivers are tributaries of this river. So again, a tributary would be a body of water that empties into a larger body of water. So this is a tributary of this. This is a tributary of that. And in fact, the Amazon is a tributary of the Atlantic Ocean. So it's those smaller bodies of water that kind of pour into the larger one. That's what the tributaries are. Thursday, number one, the Tierra del Fuego is an archipelago or group of islands. So that's not a question. That's a statement. It actually tells you what the Tierra del Fuego is, that it's a group of islands. So it's designed to help you with the question. They are located between which two labeled waterways? So really what I need to do is I need to find the Tierra del Fuego. It's labeled on the map, and you can see that the Tierra del Fuego is actually down here in the southern tip. And so I've located it. Now my question is, which two waterways is the Tierra del Fuego between? And so we've talked about different types. I don't want to give you too much here because I'll just give you the answer, but there's two bodies of water or waterways down there that will give you your answer. Thursday, number two, name the islands that are name the islands that are labeled on the map. Give their locations in relation to Mount Aconcagua. So the islands that are labeled, there sure aren't many islands that are labeled. That's one of our hints. I can see if I'm just kind of spotting that there's a couple islands there. And so just what do you see on there that are islands? And what direction are they from Mount Aconcagua? So let me give you a little bit of a hint. There's three labeled islands. So if you don't have three groups of islands labeled, it's incorrect. And the next thing is we have this is our reference point, Mount Aconcagua. So if the Galapagos Islands is one of your islands, and by the way, it should be, it is northwest of Mount Aconcagua. So one of our answers might be the Galapagos Islands northwest of Mount Aconcagua. And then I find the other two, and they tell me which direction they are from that mount too. That's a little bit of an odd question, but if you're unsure of how to do that one, then you can use this guide to kind of help you. Let's see, we're all the way to Friday. So Friday, if a person sailed from the Falkland Islands to the Galapagos Islands, in which two ways could he or she travel? So this is simply a matter of finding where the Falkland Islands are and finding where the Galapagos Islands are and deciding the two ways that he could travel. Now, be descriptive in this in your answer. You're going to have to probably tell me what you would go through and what you might pass through. So we're probably talking about names of bodies of water and possibly even directions, so keep that in mind. Friday number 2, if a person sailed from Morajo, I think I'm saying that right, island to the Galapagos Islands, in which 2 ways would he or she travel? So again, we need to find the Morajo Island and the Galapagos Islands, and then tell me which 2 ways they would travel. This is another one of those where you're probably talking directions and the names of the waterways in which you would travel. Because it does say sailed, by the way, in Friday number 1 and number 2. So waterways are going to be our answers. Landforms won't, because most of the time our boats can't go over land. So waterways will be your answer. So I hope that this helps you. We'll kind of see. I'd love some feedback as I post this as to whether or not you like this style a little bit more. I really hit each specific question, which I'm thinking might be more helpful to you. And you know, that's different than what I've done in the past, where I've just kind of gone over the map in general. So if you watch this, please give me a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot.